move to 112, and again, on your left, you're gonna see a Danbury wrestler. That's Brian Jennings. On your right, Andy Lee, and boy, he is very focused from New Canaan. Both of these guys have been fantastic all year long. Should be in for a good one at 112.
Yeah, Andy Lee, the senior, is 28-2. Going over to Brian Jennings is 26-3. These guys are former champions. Andy Lee placed fourth in the FCIAC last year, first in the Invitationals 2 years ago. And these guys are very aggressive, love to shoot, and just so far starting off compared to the 103 guys are just starting off aggressive.
Give you a visual on who we're seeing right now. Jennings in the white singlet for Danbury. Andy Lee in the black singlet trimmed with red and white. Jennings is a senior, so is Lee. So for both of these wrestlers, your last opportunity in the FCIAC championship. Something interesting to note, obviously, if you don't win an FCIAC championship, it doesn't mean your season is necessarily done. Over the last few years, they have added the wild card into the state tournament, so if you're one of the best wrestlers and you get upset during the FCIAC championship, there is a possibility you could live to see another day as a wild card, but I don't think that's in the back of anyone's mind right now. You want this FCIAC title.
Yeah, these guys are super competitive. They've been working hard all year long and just practicing in the matches. And the wrestling season is a grueling couple of months. Very different than any other sport out there. And they want to go home champions. They don't want to go home second best and be a wild card. That's not on their minds.
We are very close to our first points, and we will have our first points. Andy Lee just amassed 3 back points, and he jumps up 3-0.
Yeah, Andy Lee, 59-11 overall.
Now it's 5-0 in favor of Jennings.
Lee's trying to get his 47th pin of the year right now as he grabs Jennings in a lock on top of him.
Jennings in white for Danbury. He has 8 points now, and he goes up 8-0. You see Jennings there on the near side of your screen, already with an 8-0 lead. How did Jennings get to this point? Well, the kid had 2 pins. Got a few buys as the #1 seed. Had a pin in the quarters, a pin in the semifinals. Andy Lee's been good as well. He had a few buys also. He was the 3 seed, had a pin in the quarters, and won by decision over Cliff McGlure from Stanford, a 3-2 decision. Now a 10-0 lead for Brian Jennings. Check that, we move to 12-0.
Yeah, Andy Lee really not used to being in this position, 12-0 back. You know, like you said at the top of the broadcast, they're going against the best of the best, and they have to bring their A game here in order to compete, and Brian Jennings is just giving it all to him today.
Andy Lee, you mentioned it, finished 4th in the FCIACs last year. At worst, he will finish 2nd this year, and he needs to figure out how to combat a 12-0 lead. Essentially, the only thing Andy Lee can count on would be a pin.
Yeah, and he's 28-2 on the year, so he's never really been in this position before. And go back to a pin, he's had 46 pins this year, so he knows what to do. He just has to execute it and maneuver away and try to take advantage of Jennings' mistake. One mistake, and it could be a pin for Lee.
And again, this would be large team points for Brian Jennings, Danbury Hatters. That's a story we'll have to discuss as the matches continue along as well. Danbury and Fairfield Ward are jockeying for the top spot in this tournament. And now Brian Jennings will get the pin. Comes with 16 seconds remaining in the 2nd period. Jennings over Lee.
Well, it was all about when it was going to happen. It was 12-0, and Jennings just kept working and finding out a way to pin his opponent with Lee. He did a great job of getting on top, and look at this cradle turning right in, back shoulder down, and trying to get that other one back down. Doing a great job, and Lee just trying to get out of there as best he can, but just too much. Brian Jennings coming up with the win in the 112-pound decision. FCIAC champion Brian Jennings.
We move it along now to